for foods that raise cortisol secretly and makes you like this. I had a lovely chat with my neighbor, George, just the other morning. He was out getting his paper, and I asked him how he was doing. He just sighed and said, "Oh, waking up tired, even after a full night's sleep. My mind feels foggy by lunchtime, and I seem to be carrying all my stress right here." And he patted his stomach. "I just don't feel like myself anymore." And as he was talking, I was nodding because I thought, haven't we all felt like that at some point? Especially as we get a little older. It can feel like our get up and go just got up and went without us. We blame it on age, on a busy week, on not sleeping quite right. But what if I told you there might be a hidden culprit behind that constant fatigue, that stubborn belly weight, and that foggy feeling? A culprit that's sitting right there in your kitchen, and you might not even know it. We're going to talk about something called cortisol. Now, that might sound like a complicated medical term, but think of cortisol simply as your body's main stress hormone. It's not all bad. In fact, we need it. In a true fight or flight situation, it's a lifesaver. It gives you a burst of energy, sharpens your focus, and helps you handle immediate danger. The problem isn't cortisol itself. It's when our cortisol levels stay high all the time. When we're in a constant state of low-grade stress, our bodies keep pumping this hormone out. And that chronic elevation, well, that's what makes you feel exactly like George described. Tired, but wired, foggy. And it encourages your body to store fat, particularly around the middle. Now, we often think of stress as being caused by big things, worries about family, finances, our health, and those certainly play a part. But what many of us don't realize is that we might be eating stress every single day. Certain common foods can secretly tell your adrenal glands to pump out more cortisol, keeping you stuck in that anxious, tired cycle without you ever knowing why. That's what we're going to uncover today. We're going to talk about 4 common foods that raise cortisol secretly and make you feel just like this. The good news is, once you know what they are, you're back in the driver's seat. You can make simple, empowering choices to help your body find its natural balance again. Let's start with the first one, and it's a biggie. It's something many of us enjoy without a second thought, especially in the morning. I'm talking about that second or third cup of coffee. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not here to tell you to give up your morning coffee. I love my first cup too. That initial morning brew can feel like a warm, comforting ritual. The issue isn't the coffee itself, it's the timing and the quantity. You see, caffeine is a stimulant. It works by blocking a neurotransmitter that makes you feel tired, which is why you get that lovely, alert feeling. But to your body, this artificial jolt of alertness can feel a lot like stress. It signals your adrenal glands to release cortisol, along with adrenaline, to get you ready for this perceived emergency. Having a cup or two first thing in the morning, when your cortisol levels are naturally at their highest peak anyway, might not be a huge problem for everyone. But where we get into trouble is when we lean on it all day long. That mid-morning top-up, the pot after lunch to beat the afternoon slump, the cup after dinner to stay awake for the news. Each one is another signal to your body to release more stress hormones. It's like constantly pressing the panic button. Over time, this can exhaust your adrenal glands and lead to that burnt-out, tired, but wired feeling. The key is to enjoy your coffee mindfully. Maybe savor that first cup, but then switch to decaf or a lovely herbal tea like peppermint or chamomile later in the day. It's about giving your body's natural rhythms a chance to work instead of constantly overriding them with a stimulant. Now, the second food that secretly raises cortisol often goes hand in hand with that extra cup of coffee. I'm talking about refined white sugar and all its sneaky cousins, like high fructose corn syrup. This is a big one. When you eat a sugary pastry, a candy bar, a glass of soda, or even a seemingly healthy fruit yogurt loaded with added sugar, your blood sugar levels skyrocket. It's like a sudden, violent explosion of glucose in your bloodstream. Your body panics and releases a large amount of the hormone insulin to quickly usher all that sugar out of your blood and into your cells. This often works too well, leading to a rapid crash in blood sugar a little while later. And what does your body do when your blood sugar crashes? It interprets it as another emergency. Low blood sugar is a serious stressor. So, it releases guessed it, cortisol. Cortisol's job is to tell your liver to release stored sugar, to bring your levels back up. So you end up on a brutal roller coaster. Sugar high, insulin spike, sugar crash, cortisol spike to compensate, which then can make you crave more sugar to feel better again. It's a vicious cycle that keeps your stress hormones constantly surging, and all the while, that excess sugar, with the help of insulin and cortisol, is being efficiently stored as belly fat. The solution isn't to never have a treat again, but to be aware of where these hidden sugars are lurking in sauces, bread, cereals, and so-called health foods, and to focus on getting your sweetness from whole fruits, which contain fiber that slows down that sugar release and prevents the panic in the first place. Just think about that for a moment. That mid-afternoon cookie or sweetened latte might feel like a comforting pick-me-up, but it's actually sending your body on a stressful hormonal roller coaster that leaves you feeling more drained and anxious than before. And understanding that connection is the first, most powerful step toward choosing something different. It's a real eye-opener, isn't it? To think that our afternoon pick-me-up, that little sweet treat or extra cup of coffee we rely on to get through the day, might actually be the very thing that's keeping us stuck in a cycle of fatigue and stress. It feels counterintuitive, because in the moment, it gives us a little buzz, a little comfort. But our bodies are processing it as a call to arms, releasing cortisol to handle what it thinks is an emergency. It's like crying wolf to your own nervous system, over and over again. And once you become aware of that cycle, you start to see it everywhere. But the plot, as they say, thickens. Because the foods that secretly disrupt our calm aren't just the obvious stimulants and sweets. Some of them are hiding in plain sight, masquerading as healthy, or even just as harmless everyday staples. They're the ones we'd never think to suspect, which is what makes their effect on our cortisol levels so, well, secret. This brings us to our third cortisol-triggering food, and this one might be the most surprising of all. I am talking about what so many of us reach for when we reach trying to be good. Those supposedly healthy low-fat and fat-free products. Now, hold on. I know that goes against everything we were told for decades. For years, we were instructed that fat was the enemy. It was blamed for heart disease and weight gain, and the shelves were suddenly flooded with low-fat yogurt, fat-free salad dressing, reduced-fat peanut butter, and 100 other products, promising us a healthier life. But here's the secret they never told us. When food manufacturers remove the fat from a food, they almost always remove the flavor along with it. And to make that food palatable again, what do they have to add? Sugar, and often, a lot of it. So, you think you're making a smart choice with that fat-free strawberry yogurt, but you're not eating a healthy probiotic snack. You're essentially eating a bowl of sugary, flavored milk that's going to launch your blood sugar on that same roller coaster we just talked about, leading straight to a cortisol spike. Or you drizzle that fat-free French dressing on your salad, not realizing it's often little more than colored high-fructose corn syrup and water, sabotaging the healthy meal you're trying to build. But it's not just the added sugar. Fat is slow. It digests slowly and helps us feel full and satisfied. A meal with healthy fats keeps our blood sugar stable for hours. A meal without it are fat-free meals, processed very quickly, leading to those rapid rises and falls in blood sugar that stress our system. Furthermore, we need healthy fats to actually make our hormones, including the ones that help regulate stress. By shunning all fats, we're depriving our bodies of the essential building blocks it needs for hormonal balance. So, the lesson here isn't to fear fat, but to choose the right ones. A full-fat, plain Greek yogurt with some berries. That's a powerhouse of protein and fat that will keep you steady for hours. A salad with a simple olive oil and vinegar dressing. That's a classic for a reason. The fat helps you absorb all the wonderful fat-soluble vitamins from the vegetables. It's about choosing whole, real foods over processed, diet imitations that trick your body into a state of stress. Now, from a food that tries to be something it's not, let's move to a fourth food that is often a genuine comfort. especially on a cold day or when we're feeling a bit under the weather. I'm talking about that slice of toast, that bowl of pasta, that fluffy dinner roll in other words, refined white flour. This one is tricky because it doesn't always taste sweet, but to your body, that white bread, that white rice, that standard pasta might as well be a spoonful of sugar. These are what we call refined carbohydrates. The process of refining whole wheat, for example, strips away the bran and the germ, which is where all the fiber, vitamins, and minerals are. What you're left with is the starchy endosperm, which your digestive system breaks down into glucose almost instantly. Can you see the pattern now? Just like with sugar, eating a piece of white toast with jam causes a rapid spike in your blood sugar. Your pancreas releases a flood of insulin to manage it. The sugar is quickly cleared from your blood, often leading to a crash. And that crash signals another emergency, prompting the release of cortisol to stabilize you. It's the same exhausting cycle, just from a different starting point. You might have a turkey sandwich on white bread for lunch and wonder why you're feeling so anxious, foggy, and craving something sweet by 3 p.m. It's not your lack of willpower. It's a direct biochemical response. The solution here is both simple and delicious. Swap out the refined grains for their whole grain counterparts. A slice of hearty, whole wheat, or sourdough bread. Real sourdough has a lower glycemic index, will keep you feeling full and your blood sugar steady in a way that white bread simply cannot. A serving of quinoa or brown rice instead of white rice makes a world of difference. It's not about deprivation. It's not about upgrading to a version of the food you already enjoy that truly nourishes and stabilizes you, rather than secretly stressing you out. So now we have a clearer picture. It's not just about the obvious sugars. It's about anything that acts like sugar in our body, sending our system into a panic. It's about the processed foods that have been stripped of their natural, balancing components, leaving behind a substance that disrupts our delicate hormonal harmony. And understanding this is the key to finally breaking the cycle. It really does start to connect the dots, doesn't it? That foggy 3 p.m. feeling, the stubborn weight that won't budge no matter what you seem to try, that underlying hum of anxiety that you just can't quite explain. It can feel so personal, like something is wrong with you. But when you see how these everyday foods, that extra coffee, the hidden sugars, the diet fats, and the refined carbs, all sending the same secret signal to your body, it changes everything. It's not a character flaw, it's a chemistry lesson. And the beautiful part is, chemistry can be changed. Now, I know this can feel like a lot to take in. It might seem like there's nothing left to eat, but that is absolutely not the case. This isn't about living a life of restriction and fear, counting every single gram of sugar, or never enjoying a meal out with family again. That kind of stress would probably raise your cortisol more than the food itself. This is about awareness. It's about shifting the balance, making small, powerful swaps that add up to a huge difference in how you feel from the inside out. Think of it like this. For years, you might have been unknowingly pouring a little bit of gasoline on the small stress fires in your body every day. Now, you have the water to put them out. The goal is to make choices that promote stable blood sugar, because stable blood sugar is the foundation of stable cortisol levels. It's the opposite of that roller coaster. It's a calm, smooth, peaceful path. So, what does that look like on your plate? It looks like building your meals around protein, healthy fats, and fiber. These are the 3 pillars of satiety and blood sugar balance. Instead of a plain bagel for breakfast, what about 2 scrambled eggs with some spinach and a slice of whole grain toast? The protein and fat in the eggs will slow down the digestion of the carbohydrates, providing you with steady, long-lasting energy without the spike and crash. Instead of that fat-free sugary yogurt, what about a bowl of plain Greek yogurt? It's tangy and rich. Top it with a handful of blueberries and a sprinkle of walnuts. The protein, the fat from the nuts, and the fiber from the berries work together in harmony. It's a completely different message to your body, one of nourishment and calm. When you go for a snack, reach for something that combines a little protein with a little fat, a small apple with a tablespoon of almond butter, a few carrot sticks with a couple of tablespoons of hummus, a handful of almonds. These are tiny choices that tell your adrenal glands, it's okay. Everything is stable. You can stand down, and when you do have a meal that includes carbohydrates, which you absolutely should, they give us energy. Make sure they're the complex, high-fiber kind. A sweet potato instead of a white potato, brown rice or quinoa instead of white rice. Those whole grains and fibrous vegetables release their energy slowly, like a time-release capsule of vitality, instead of a sugar bomb. The most important thing to remember is that you are in control. You are not at the mercy of your cravings or your fatigue. You have the knowledge now to understand why you might be feeling the way you do, and you have the power to make a different choice, one meal, one snack at a time. This isn't about perfection. It's about progression. It's about listening to your body. If you have a stressful day and you reach for a cookie, that's okay. Be kind to yourself. Notice how you feel afterwards, maybe a bit jittery, maybe a bit tired, an hour later, and use that information for next time. This is a journey of discovery about your own incredible body. I would love to hear about your discoveries. Have you noticed that certain foods make you feel anxious or tired? Have you tried swapping one of these cortisol-triggering foods for a more balanced option? What was that experience like for you? Please share your stories and your tips in the comments below. Your wisdom could be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this conversation has been helpful, if it's given you a new way to look at what's on your plate, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. We're here to have these important, caring conversations about how to truly thrive and feel our best in these wonderful years. Thank you for spending this time with me, for caring for your well-being, and for being so open to learning. Remember, small changes create big waves. Here's to your calm, your energy, and your health. You've got this.